Coldplay CEO, new Firestorm. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. You'll recall not too long ago that Andy Byron, the now former CEO of the data analytics firm Astronomer, was caught up in a viral clusterfuck as a consequence of having been caught on a jumbotron at a Coldplay concert with his arms wrapped around a colleague and affair partner. Their reaction to being seen on the big screen prompted much entertainment and even prompted Chris Martin to comment that they must be having an affair since they didn't want to be seen. And indeed, his words turned out to be accurate, for Byron was married. And there he was, engaging in playing hide the sausage, not at that particular time, but more generally, with a colleague. This went viral on the internet, and his reaction to this, the defiance that he exhibited, all pointed to a number of narcissistic traits, along with the fact that he engaged in an affair in the first place, the commission of the narcissistic trait of infidelity, and that he was so brazen about it by failing to recognise the boundary in respect of it involving a colleague who also was an individual that was at the concert with him, and that he was engaging in such a public display of affection, notwithstanding the fact that he was a married man, that in essence he was demonstrating a lack of accountability and an arrogance and an absence of emotional empathy towards his wife, both in terms of having the affair in the first place and flaunting his affair partner and his affection for her in the way that he did at the concert. Well, along comes more evidence that supports the suggestion that the narcissism is strong with Mr. Byron. Just when it seemed like the dust was settling from the Coldplay concert scandal, dubbed Coldplay Gate, things have taken a wilder turn. Andy Byron has found himself at the centre of an even messier viral firestorm after his wife, Megan Kerrigan, reportedly leaked private messages exposing his alleged interactions with someone called Sophie Rain. Naturally, if you cheat on your spouse, there is a risk that they're going to do something in order to cause a problem for you. It might simply by telling family and friends what a low-down douche canoe you are for dipping the wick away from home. It might be that the spouse goes further by being particularly demanding in relation to financial settlement surrounding a divorce because they have been hurt by that individual's infidelity. It might go even further as their emotional empathy is eroded by this act of infidelity, this betrayal, so that they decide that they're going to share with the world the various peccadilloes and idiosyncrasies of the offending shagger by perhaps telling the world that he's got a micro penis, or by telling the world that he likes to wear a dog onesie when performing the act, or some other kind of embarrassing matter which hitherto had been kept within the four walls and the confines of the marriage, but now that the scorned partner deems appropriate to share. Naturally, where you have a narcissist that is engaged in such behaviour, their unaware narcissism has driven them to conduct an affair because their intimate partner primary source is in the sustained devaluation, which takes the shackles off the concept of fidelity and allows them to go lucking elsewhere. They care not about the consequences because of their absence of emotional empathy and the absence of accountability. And yet again, in relation to perhaps one of my most foundational and groundbreaking videos, Give the Narcissist Enough Rope, which is a must-watch, we have another example of this. If you give the narcissist enough rope, i.e. enough time, because of the way that they behave as a narcissist, their behaviours will be shown, which then enable you to feel satisfied that people understand what that person is, or that it can assist you in relation to perhaps an ongoing court case, because those in the court system then see the decision makers, this person behaves in this way. Doesn't necessarily mean that they'll see that they're a narcissist, but often that doesn't matter. What matters is that they can be seen to be a terrible mother, or that they are a disloyal partner, or that they're a thieving, conniving individual at work, whatever it might be. The evidence will be accumulated because that's the way the narcissist behaves, and over time, that information comes out. Sometimes it comes out as a consequence of the narcissist's own activities. They lose their shit and start bragging about it, or that they show those behaviours because the facade fractures. In other instances, more and more people start to speak out about that individual. Look at what happened to Harvey Weinstein. And in some instances, it's because the spurned party is able to gain a platform and that people take them seriously, rather than just dismissing them as a disgruntled spouse who's caught their partner doing something they ought not to do, and of course are understandably aggrieved, but 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. They end up being believed, and their evidence takes on greater weight. Well, this appears to have been what has happened here in relation to Andy Byron, because he has been having some interaction with Sophie Rain. Who's Sophie Rain? Well, it would appear that she's on OnlyFans and is the lady in the white top that you can see in the accompanying picture in the thumbnail. Yes, according to screenshots which have been allegedly shared by Kerrigan, Byron seemingly used a secretive messaging app known as Finsta to pay up to $40,000 for explicit video calls with Rain, a well-known content creator and member of influencer mansion Bop House, whatever that might be. In one message exchange, the now former astronomer CEO allegedly told Rain, "All good, most guys I talk to are married." To which Rain seemingly replied, "Okay, call me in 5 minutes, winky face." Accordingly, he has been engaging with somebody who operates an OnlyFans account, which presumably the amount that he's been spending isn't just to talk about gardening tips, but rather is to receive naked videos, naked calls, to cause her to do certain things that he wants. She makes money out of him. He's wealthy. He can afford to do it. But it furthermore demonstrates a sense of entitlement to engage in such behaviours which would both be regarded as sexual infidelity and also financial infidelity. He's using the household's money in a way that his wife would not approve of. He might argue, well, it's his money, he can do with it what he wants. But there would also be an argument from a wife with some justification that he shouldn't be spending money which could be used for the benefit of the household, for the family, for the children, on somebody getting their bazookas out. There have been plenty of memes mocking his downfall, parody accounts and speculation about the use of company funds also. So it might be the case that he wasn't necessarily using personal funds, but was engaging in the use of company funds. That seems to be just speculation, but again would demonstrate a lack of boundary recognition and a sense of entitlement. One user joked Bro cashed in his 401k for feet pics, while another quipped OnlyFans, more like only fired. Sophie Rain, for her part, is staying mostly tight-lipped, but offered this statement, where she distanced herself from the scandal while offering to support Byron's wife. "I cannot comment on who my clients and donors are, but this situation is crazy as it is. As a Christian, I don't condone this type of behaviour." I think that Miss Rain needs to understand the nature of what a Christian is and also what condone means. Because if you're allowing him and accepting $40,000 to be spent on you getting your boobs out, you both condone that behaviour and continue to engage in it. "I don't disclose my donors, but I am here for his wife as she needs a friend through these times. I know this type of thing can be hard. If she has any issues at all during this time of uncertainty, she can reach out to me. I would love to talk to her and reassure her that this guy is just a bump in the road." So hilariously, Sophie Rain happily whaps her boobs out, that Mr. Byron pays whatever it is that he's paid, $40,000, for the pleasure of seeing Sophie Rain doing whatever she does in the buff, And she readily takes his money and then turns around and says he's just a bump in the road. He's just a mark, basically. And yeah, I'll chat to you, Mrs. Wife, and we can all laugh at what he's been doing as he was pulling his pud whilst I was prancing around naked. Rain even gave a nod to her love of the band at the centre of the chaos. I'm a huge fan of Coldplay. I'm glad this happened. Cheaters are the worst people on this planet. I applaud Chris Martin for integrating this into his show. Well, she seems to have quite a lack of awareness as a consequence of the fact that she is obviously facilitating such behaviour. Now, at the end of the day, she owes no obligation towards Byron or his wife. She's offering a service, and if somebody comes along and offers her money, she's going to take it and do what she does. But the content of her statement does show that either she's somewhat naive or perhaps a bit thick. Not that that was what Mr. Byron was interested in, because he certainly wasn't making contact with her for the purposes of conversation about the business of astronomer or debating the finer points of quantum physics. However, he's been busted, and his behaviour in relation to his affair mistress is now demonstrating that there is a pattern of behaviour in relation to this man, where there was regular cheating with regard to his wife, both physically with his colleague and also virtually through his spending of monies on an OnlyFans lady. Plenty of narcissistic traits racking up through his sense of entitlement, his lack of emotional empathy, the absence of accountability for his behaviours, grandiosity in thinking that he could get away with this, the misuse of marital funds or potentially corporate funds, and the fact that all of this is done naturally to assert control through the application of money to cause a young woman to do what he wants, that he gets his cheapies from, which is a residual benefit in the receipt of fuel. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.